hair care in terms of like wigs, wearing wigs. And I begun the conversation by just saying I really do like the way they look. I actually like installing them. I like the naturalness. Like wigs have come a long way. Hey, welcome to another video. Welcome to the Bajo channel. This is the home of self-care, beauty, wellness, and any and everything to help you to become a more powerful version, a more refined version of yourself. Thank you for joining us today. I will be with you very briefly. I want to just talk about, I spoke recently about hair care in terms of like wigs, wearing wigs. And I begun the conversation by just saying I really do like the way they look. I actually like installing them. I like the naturalness. Like wigs have come a long way. When a person had a wig on, to me back in the day, you knew that person had on a wig. But now it's not like that. Wigs have evolved. They almost look like they're growing from your scalp. I think wigs are a very good alternative to different hairstyles, especially if you are the type of person that enjoy being different, or just changing up your look, like just having that chameleon spirit. You know what I mean? Like you don't like looking the same way all the time. So I think that wigs are a great way of changing up your look, providing it looks, natural and everything like that. But what I want to talk about today is not using wigs or any other style that will cover up your natural hair as a excuse not to deal with what's really happening with your own hair. A lot of times our hair go through crisis. Our hair can go through different crises for whatever reason. And I think I spoke about this before in a recent video. But what I want to encourage you today is take care of your hair before you do anything else to it. Whether you decide to wear a wig, whether you decide to wear braids, crochet locks, faux locks, whatever you decide to do with your hair, and you want to add some things to it or just simply put on a wig, make sure you take care of your scalp first of all, because when you're wearing a wig as just an excuse or an attempt at just not dealing with whatever is going on with your hair, it's almost like sweeping dirt under a rug. If you sweep dirt under one rug in your house for a certain period of time, after a while, that dirt is going to start coming out of that, from underneath that carpet. When you step on it, when you walk in the room, it's going to have dust in the air. It's going to start like having like this foggy look because the dirt can no longer be contained. That's the same way it is when you're wearing wigs and you're doing these different things just to elude taking care of your hair, because it's just frustrating, you're overwhelmed with it, and you just don't know what to do with it. What happens is our hair start to, I said before, it goes into like a crisis. It can be in crisis before you start wearing wigs. So wigs is like your way of not dealing with it. But when you constantly wearing a wig and you're not dealing with your hair underneath, it's still in crisis. So what I encourage you to do is make sure you are shampooing your hair regularly, making sure you're taking care of your scalp. The scalp can become so inflamed. It can become so flaky and dry, and like so many different levels of like psoriasis. And just the scalp can actually develop rashes and sores and like bruises because because that scalp has not been maintained. You got to get to the scalp before you can even deal with your hair, because if your scalp is inflamed, your scalp is flaky, your scalp is like infected, it's hard to do anything with your hair because it's attached to your scalp. So these are like, we speak about hair and beauty, but your scalp is like fundamental to all of it. You ever had a beautiful hairstyle? You ever had a style that looked amazing, but your hair started itching like it was no tomorrow? You will take that hairstyle down immediately because all bets is off. If my scalp can't even handle this hairstyle, if I'm itching like no tomorrow, or if flakes is coming through the style, you're gonna take that style down, even though it may still be beautiful. So get to the basics. Stay with the basics. You get to that scalp. You make sure you shampoo that scalp. If you have some type of a scalp condition, you may need to see a dermatologist, or you and your stylist may just be able to deal with it with certain antiseptics, certain shampoos, certain conditioners, certain oils with tea tree or eucalyptus or whatever your situation is. Your stylist and yourself together can kind of handle it. And if not, like I said, go to the dermatologist. You may need medicine. It may be something else going on, but handle the scalp first, right? Then let's move to the hair. Your hair needs to be moisturized. Dry hair breaks. Dry hair is brittle. Dry hair falls out. Your hair needs to have a certain level of moisture. Some need more moisture than others because of the texture and density and porosity of that person's hair. Next, you need to make sure your ends are staying trimmed. Some people have this phobia about cutting hair and they think that everybody is scissor happy or whatever. Find somebody you trust to trim your ends, because what happens when you avoid trimming your ends, those ends just start splitting down closer towards your scalp. And then when you decide to eventually wear your hair out, your ends are so thin because your ends have split up over time and you haven't done anything about it. But if you get your ends trimmed, I would say, depending on what you do with your hair and how much you're handling your hair, I would say I tell my clients, check your ends every 8 to 12 weeks. You may not need it, but I think that's the time to start kind of looking at your ends and seeing if they're okay. If you stay on a regimen like that, they'll never get out of order. But these are the basic things that you need to do before you go throwing a wig on your hair. Make sure that hair you have is taken care of. I don't care if you don't have but a patch here and a patch there. Take care of those and take care of the scalp that you have. The scalp is always there. So it's never an excuse. Stop covering it up. You know how it is in life. When you cover things up that need to be dealt with, what happens? That problem that you're covering up, it becomes exacerbated. It blows up beyond what it should have been. What happens when you don't go to the doctor? You have an issue going on. You just, whatever. And then finally you go to the doctor and it's something much greater that could have been taken care of with minimal treatment or minimal medication or whatever. It's life. So in for the sake of the context of this conversation, when it comes to your hair, just stop using a wig as a cover-up. A wig is nothing more than a hat with hair on top of it. Let's just keep it 100. A wig is a hat with hair attached to it. That's it. Because your hair is not looking good, you put a hat on every single day. You just put the hat on. You're not dealing with it. You put the hat on, the hairy hat. Let's call it that, the hairy hat. Every day. And even with a hat, even if you wear a hat every day, if you wear a hat like every day, and I know people who are into hats like that, they know that there is like a rubbing, like a slight rubbing. We call that like traction. And even with the slight rubbing, it can remove hair. I know in the wintertime, I always tell my clients that when you're wearing certain hats, put like a scarf or something underneath, like around your neck area, because oftentimes a client will come in the salon because they're wearing certain hats, and right at their nape line, it'll be like hair disappearing. because of the material of the hat, just because of the natural nature of wearing the hat and the rubbing, the natural rubbing. It's the same thing with a wig. It's the same exact thing with the wig. The hairy hat, aka the wig, it cannot be used as an excuse. It cannot be used as an alternative method of you taking care of your hair. You can wear the wig all you want to. I'm not against wearing it, but I am against putting it on and you haven't taken care of you, which is your natural hair underneath. Whatever you need to do, whatever you need to whatever you decide to do with your hair, whatever it is, if you have a trusted friend, if you don't have a stylist, maybe you could just book a consultation with someone. Some people have free consultations. Other people, it's worth its weight in gold to pay for a good consultation. At least you'll know what direction to go with your hair. That consultation fee is worth oftentimes you losing your hair significantly. Over time, it just keeps shedding, and with hair, it's like if you don't stop it, it'll just continue to shed from one way to the next. And again, we deal with it how? We throw a wig on it, we braid it up, put some cornrows in it, and we put that wig on and we keep it pushing to avoid dealing with the problem. Anytime in life that we avoid dealing with the problem, that problem is going to be sitting there waiting for you. And oftentimes it's going to be bigger when you come to face it than it was when you turned your face away from it. So just understanding that your hair has to come first. It's a part of you. This channel is all about self-care, being the best care, and, and just having this conversation about your hair. I just want you to remember that it's a part of you. Your hair is you. Your hair is a reflection of you. You don't avoid any part of yourself, nothing. Your nails, your elbows, nothing. It's you. It's your responsibility. So as beautiful as our wigs are, and I love them so much, please stop using them as an excuse or as a way of avoiding dealing with your own natural hair. Your own natural hair is going to be waiting whenever you get ready to deal with it, and it's going to be waiting with a vengeance. Whatever you didn't want to deal with before is probably going to have already grown into something that it shouldn't have grown into. So I thank you for listening. Thank you so much. This is the Bajo channel, the home of self-care, wellness, beauty, and any and everything that'll help you become a more informed version of you. Better, better, better. So thank you for joining us. And remember that self-care is most certainly the best care. Later.